Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Today is Friday. It's 9 p.m. and we are back with yet another episode of Insight from Mentors, helping you ace your career.
Absolutely.
So before we get into the interview straight off, inviting him, we would really start with our own introduction. And here it goes. I'm Nutsan. I'm a career and a life coach, and I coach mid-segment people with 12 to 15 years plus experience who are stuck in their career, stagnating, wanting to make a career transition or a shift. And not only that, but we also help people to.
So I'm actually a career coach, life coach, and a business coach. Okay, so we also help entrepreneurs, solopreneurs to be successful from wherever they are and take their businesses or their income to a complete different level.
So it's absolutely a holistic coaching life. Any part of life is what we really work
Absolutely
towards.
true.
But in today's segment in LinkedIn, we talk about only one thing, and that's about how to
Ace your career.
So, guys, welcome to yet another session. Like we promised, we got another guest, amazing
Yes.
person. He's a veteran. He's completed his entire tenure, seen it through various phases that India has gone through, and still maintained his growth. Today, he calls himself in the superannuation group. He doesn't enjoy the word called as retirement. We had an amazing conversation yesterday, and to continue that and bring you a few insights which will help you ace your career, I would like to now bring upon Mr.
Vivek Sharma.
So till he joins us, let's really welcome him. I would request each one of you to put it in the comment section. How excited are you for today's interview? Welcome, sir. How are you
Welcome,
doing?
sir. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Fantastic. It's
You
nice.
are introducing like a rock show.
You are a rock star. There's no two way about it.
Great. So it's really nice to have you here. And like I mentioned, that it's all about how to ace your career. So we invite people with experience and people who've really done well in their career, and you have made it big. So right straight on, jumping to the very first question is, how did you choose your career? Was it the influence of the peers, which generally happens, or the family deciding, or I've really done this and this is what is trending and I'll choose my career?
Very
What
good.
was the reason for you to make the career choice that you did?
See, kahani purani hai, kahani lambi hai, but let me, put it in short.
Yes.
So, my father was a scientist with the Department of Science and Technology,
Yes.
and working for the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, doing research in artificial rainmaking. The only, organization in Asia who does that. So he was very keen that, like him, I should be a science person. I should do my MSc, and then I should do my PhD. Be the first person in the family to do PhD and all of that. हर बाप के सुनहरे सपने होते हैं. My father was no less. So that was his plan for me. But at the graduation stage itself, I was very clear that the patience, the dedication, and the perseverance required for an MSc or a PhD is not my strength. So the proverbial Bhagavat happened. For the first time in my life, and probably the only time in my life. So Salim को prompt किया अनारकली ने.
Okay.
तो हमारे केस में अनारकली तो थी नहीं. But the Bhagavat was that I said I will not do MSc. So to create pressure on my father, I went and appeared for an interview with Godrej and Boys. They were opening a new branch in Pune. I went there and I got selected. So I told him, see, I have an appointment letter now. After graduation, there's a sales officer's job. So he told me, क्या ये काम करेगा क्या? I mean, he had very high ambitions for me. So I said, see, they are giving a Royal Enfield motorcycle as well, Bullet. और हमारे पास थी नहीं. Just to put, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मिर्ची मसाला. So after a lot of give and take, then finally he said, okay, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do my MBA. And my own experience is that अगर बाप किसी के सामने हाथ टेकता है और घुटने टेकता है, वो तो बेटे के सामने होता है. So it's not only Jahanpana Akbar who did that. So that happened in case of my father also. So he finally agreed. He said, "Chalo, theek hai, do what you want, but you must make sure that you get a good first class there. And I want to see you succeed," and so on. He became very sentimental. So as luck would have it, जो सिम्बायोसिस पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी उनका सबका जो एंट्रेंस होता है टेस्ट, उसमें यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पुणे में I was ranked first.
Wow.
And at Symbiosis, I was ranked second.
Okay.
So I had a good choice. So that is the first time in my entire family, किसी की newspaper में photo छपी. So when he went to office, he wasn't aware. So one of my uncles, his colleagues in office, उन्होंने उनको photo दिखाया. And that uncle told me later that my father literally went into tears. And after that, he has been a very supportive person. Of course, he's been a supportive person. He's my mentor. He was my guide and my role model. And whatever I am today, I cannot give. I mean, even more than God, I will give credit to him. But since you asked, तो वो बगावत तो करनी पड़ी. Otherwise, I would have been.
But you proved it also. You proved it right.
I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, I mean, just imagine, someone, a child takes a decision and then his results are reflected, and others are talking about it. What more pride moment can a father have? Amazing.
So he was quite happy, and then he supported, and God was kind, and then, as you say, I mean, I would not put it in such effusive language as you have been kind enough to do, but I had a decent career run after that, and I think events have proven that that was a good decision to begin with.
So, what was the first job like after your MBA?
So that's another good, interesting. I'm liking your program. It is taking me into my golden memories. A lot of positive memories are coming back, which normally one doesn't have time to reminisce about.
Yes.
So every institution has a rule. Okay, itna interview, itna ye. So at the end of our MBA, just before the exams, we have the campus placement season at Symbiosis.
Correct.
So I was fortunate. I got actually 3 offers.
Wow.
The first offer I got was from HCL Computers, one of the real B2B successes at that time. And Dr. Bakshi himself, head of HR, a doyen of HR practices in the country. He, of course, is retired now, but he had come to our campus himself. So that was the first offer I got. The second offer was from a company in tires called Chia Tires.
Yeah.
And the third was the offer from Philips India Limited.
Okay.
Coincidentally, SIAT and Philips were back-to-back interviews. But SIAT decided, they gave us an appointment letter, and I actually joined SIAT.
Okay.
Okay.
And after a month, I got the letter from Philips. Now, SIAT posted me to Ranchi after 1 month of training at the plant. And this is what I would like to also point out to young people today. It was an emotional decision I took, that why should I go to Ranchi? I had never been to Bihar. Those days, Ranchi was part of Bihar, not of Jharkhand. So I said, why should I go there? And this Philips offer is in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So I put in my papers, right? And I joined Philips.
Okay.
And that was in the year 1985, 1st June 1985. I still remember the day. And you see, it's been a good almost 37 years since then.
Wow.
So that's how the first job started.
And how was your experience in Philips?
See, Philips was, if you ask me, Philips was a sort of a university, a very nurturing organization, a very, very, supportive organization. So they had it was, at those days, now, of course, Philips is a different setup because they are a more commercial organization today. But those days, they were a blue chip multinational. And they used to be very selective in recruitments. And they used to spend a lot of money on training, on development of people, and on people themselves. So, for instance, they had a management trainee program for 1 year.
Wow.
Which began by spending 1 month at the showroom in Churchgate, just selling 10 rupees ka lamp, 20 rupees ka colored lamp, music system, hi-fi speakers, lighting equipment, and all of that. So 1 month we used to sell. And their people practices were very, very good. We were well taken care of. And people said that Philips is a company not for anybody else, but Philips is for employees.
Wow.
And I saw the sort of care people were taken, and I saw the confidence, I saw the teamwork, and I saw, the father-child sort of a relationship between senior personnel of Philips and juniors like us who had entered. We were mentored, we were taken care of, we were guided. When we made mistakes, we were scolded, and we were fired. But end of the day, it was a nurturing and a supportive setup.
Very nice.
It's no wonder then that I started in 85 and I stayed at Philips till 1998. Wow. And almost every 2 years, I used to get a good new assignment. And I have a very, very enviable record, if I may say so. I was and probably and even today, the only person who began as a management trainee and became a general manager in 10 years flat.
Wow.
So the organization supported us. We got the right breaks at the right time. We were given a lot of training. For example, a junior and middle level, personnel are not invested upon by most companies even today.
Yeah.
So we had programs that I am Ahmedabad, I am Bangalore, I am Calcutta, on finance for non-finance personnel, on strategy making, on product development strategy, go-to-market, and all of that. So it helped us grow as individuals, it helped us grow as personnel, and most importantly, it taught us a lesson that the way we were treated, we should treat the next generation of people.
Wow.
So it was a sort of a legacy.
Passed on.
That's why I remember Philips always as my alma mater after my college days, the first company I worked for. And it was a university of sorts. So very, very, very unforgettable experience. And if you were to ask me which is the employer I have loved working, I mean, not that I work for too many people, but Philips would be up there. It was a very enjoyable experience.
So the first itself was an amazing experience.
Yes, it was.
Great.
Very, very, very good, entry. Agar wo trailer tha, to baki ki picture, you can imagine. It was good.
Right. So right from being a management trainee when you started till being a managing director of a different company, of course, but making your journey through, progressing ahead, reaching at the peak, what do you feel are the qualities or the traits that a person requires to be successful?
Yeah.
अभी नूतन जी इसके ऊपर तो लोगों ने किताबें लिखी हुई हैं. कोई बोलता है कि कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए, कम्युनिकेशन होना चाहिए, स्ट्रेटेजी होनी चाहिए, you should leadership skills होने चाहिए. You can write a book and I'm sure you should. But I mean, since you're asking,
yes.
And I assume you expect a reply that I would give if I were to write a book.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say that in my experience, I have focused on basically 3 things.
Okay.
And this troika, I would say, is LSD.
Okay.
Yeah.
अब बोलोगे LSD मतलब students और new management लोगों के सामने LSD की बात, cocaine की बातें नहीं कर रहे. What is LSD? So L stands for love.
Okay.
Now you will say, what has love got to do with leadership? But then L for love, L for leadership. There can be no true leader of people unless he has immense love, unconditional love for the people who are following him. तो आपने देखा होगा बॉलीवुड में पीपल टॉक के वो इतनी मोहब्बत बेइंतहा थी कि वो चांद सितारे तोड़ के अपनी महबूबा के लिए ले आया। बॉलीवुड में ऐसे कई सीन्स होते हैं।
बिल्कुल।
तो आई मीन लिटरली स्पीकिंग, a leader should be like that. If he loves his people, he should be able to support them towards success and becoming even more successful than he himself, so that they are happy, they are developing, they are growing, and they achieve their goals. The leadership is not a perk, right?
Yes.
Leadership is a service. Those of us who think leadership is a perk and an entitlement, I think we are in fool's paradise. Leadership is nothing but service.
Wow.
And can you have service without love?
No ways.
No way.
Right. So first is love. The second is, I would say, S. Now, people may say S is strategy. Of course, strategy. वो सब leaders करते हैं. उसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. But in my dictionary, S is self-awareness. See, if you are aware about self, only then can you be aware about others. आप खुद को जानते नहीं हो और दूसरों को क्या जानोगे आप?
True.
So a leader who is self-aware will lead his company towards improvement, towards greater things.
Yes.
He will be able to respond to competitive pressures. He will be able to respond to customers, because he knows what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, what his improvement areas are, what he can do and what he can't do.
Correct.
That clarity comes in with self-awareness.
Yes.
So as human beings also, other than a self-purpose, I think the most important thing is self-awareness. So therefore, the second S in LSD is self-awareness. And then aata hai D. D is discipline.
I
was very fortunate to have been my father's son. He was a taskmaster, and his principle was, unlike parents of today, spare the rod and spoil the child. So हम गलती करते थे तो पिटते थे, और जितना मैं पिटा हूं आज के बच्चे शायद वो सोच भी नहीं सकते. Right? But let me also confess कि जब भी पिटा हूं I deserved it. So discipline, what it does to you and why is discipline important is, if you are disciplined, you form good habits.
Yes.
Right? And if you have good habits, it builds or brings about consistency.
Very true.
And unless आप consistent हो, आप growth कैसे करोगे?
Completely agree.
बिल्कुल.
So discipline और growth का चोली दामन का साथ है. And therefore, I mean, I can go on if you like for the next 30 minutes, but because since you have kept 30 minutes, I'm sure you don't want me to go. So to start with, I mean, if
these are your top three.
To give you LSD is what I would say are the three most important things in my book for any aspiring or any leader that wants to really succeed.
In fact, this brings me to one very important question, which is something which has been really spoken about. You would have read posts on LinkedIn also, that how do you deal with people who are toxic? Since you're talking about people, your strength was loving them, serving them, taking care of them. I'm sure over these years you would have found certain people either above or below or your peers who would have been such negative influences. How do you deal with them and still sustain growth in that company?
See, toxicity is one of the biggest banes of industry today. And toxicity does not come from below. Toxicity flows from the top. So any department or any culture, if you see, has toxicity into it, or is a toxic culture, it clearly shows the leader is the person responsible. Because he has tolerated that culture, because he has supported that culture, and because probably he has willingly
been a part of it.
He has facilitated that culture. Reasons I don't know, or we don't know unless we know the company.
Great.
So it flows from the top. Now, your question is somebody who is working with us, whether a peer, whether a superior, or whether a junior. I think toxicity stems from a feeling of insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes from a feeling of not knowing what the future holds. It is also from a feeling of getting lost out. Fear of missing out.
Very true.
So such people, what they need is not our fury, but they need our patience, our understanding, our empathizing. So if we spend time with them, right, work with them, work on them, and work with people around them, it can be definitely controlled first and then totally eliminated. It also requires teaching, it requires tutoring, it requires mentoring. And at times it also requires isolating such elements for the good of the organization. Right? Because while individuals you love and they are important, the larger good of the organization is foremost and primary.
True.
So sometimes you need to isolate these people. Once isolated, then you speak to them, treat them with love, treat them with care, treat them with attention, treat them with understanding, nurture, support. But most important of all, we must listen. Because unless we listen, we don't know or we can't the root cause of toxicity. So this is something we have to work at all levels.
True.
It cannot be. So it's a culture change. It's a culture transformation. And therefore, it's something which must have HR at the center of it.
Yes.
And it must have the total ownership of the leader. Without him, it can't change.
Okay. Right.
No toxicity, zero tolerance for politics. These are things, these are a leader's prerogative.
Great. So that brings me to my next question. Mentoring. Did you receive mentoring? Is mentoring important if you have to really grow at a great pace in your career?
See, mentoring ke bina to life hoti nahi hai. I was very, very fortunate that not only in my professional career, but also my own father was an excellent mentor. The mentors are of two types. There are mentors who speak to you.
Yes.
And there are mentors who live their life for you.
Wow.
So I saw my father as a great mentor. The role he played in my life, he lived his life, and that life was an example to us. You know, he was 1930, 33, 34 born, and way ahead of his time. You know, we are talking of Women's Day now and all of that. He had huge respect for women.
Wow.
And, you know, women started from women at home.
True.
And women, he would never crack frivolous jokes or, you know, behave lightly or superficially with women. He respected women a lot.
Wow.
Right? He was upright. He was very direct. He also was against toxicity, because every family has politics and a culture of, you know, chit chats and that sort of a thing. But he was against it. So he was a good mentor to us. What is right? Why is discipline important? Why are you being disciplined? Why are you coming home at 7 o'clock every evening while other children continue to play? He would talk to us. Right? And when we obeyed, he would be happy. But when we didn't, 705, you know, we were staying on the third floor. 705, he would climb down. And he would just shout our names. My younger brother, of course, he used to be up before that. I was the one who was...
needed that voice.
Yeah. So he would call our names and then we would have to run. As we ran past, he would run after us, giving us on our backsides where it hurts. So much so that 7 bajne mein 5 minute hote the. So our neighbors used to tell us, "Arey, ghar jao." You know, they were keen that we reach it before 7. So he was a hard taskmaster, but in his own way, he was an excellent mentor.
Wow.
At Philips, we had a very nurturing environment, and our mentoring needs, without the word mentoring is used formally, I now recollect, because today mentoring is a big buzzword.
Yes.
And
Yes.
everybody talks of mentoring and coaching and all of that.
Yes.
I mean, these are big words today, but the great companies of yore, the companies that were successful in the past few decades, they have all been companies that tried all of that.
That's
So
the
we
reason
had,
successful.
yeah, that's why they were successful.
Yes.
Very true.
So that built a leadership chain and passed on the legacy of culture down hand to hand, relay race.
Wow.
So we had some exceptionally good mentors. But if I was to say, one of the really fine bosses I worked for is a person I still remember today, was one Mr. S.P. Joshi.
Okay.
He's today head of L&T Reality. Right? And I think he's one of the most underrated managers. He was an IIT Delhi and an IIM Ahmedabad pass out.
Okay.
Apart from his blue-blooded credentials, he was an exceptional manager, a fantastic human being. I am using the word was, and I apologize to him because he is still very much active, right? But I am talking of my own past because
Correct.
I remember when I was head of sales and marketing and he was heading the business. So he used to guide us. What are the good habits for managers? What is it that you need more importantly than strategy? How do you become a role model to your team? How do you bond with people? How do you understand customers? How can you be a good human being? Before I met him, I used to be a casual reader. But he's the one who brought into me, a habit of reading management books. My father and mother were instrumental in my having a very, very vigorous reading habits. But that reading habit was on literature and on the softer aspects and all of that. So if you ask me today, Kidnapped, Three Musketeers, any of the classics, I have read it.
Wow.
Thanks to my parents and thanks to Joshiji, I developed. And today, if you come to my house, starting from how do you build a brand, right, to creating stronger brand equity on one side, self-help books, 7 Habits of Stephen, Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
I have a book bank of about 1,000 books.
Wow.
Right. And I like to give books as gifts. So most of the colleagues who are my direct reportees, when they join in, it has been a habit with me for quite some time now that I give them a book on how they should spend their first 100 days at the new profile or new job.
Very nice.
Right?
And that brings me to a very important question that you have moved up the ladder, you have recruited people at various different levels. What are the qualities that you seek when you're finalizing candidates for your organization?
See, selecting people is a very difficult job.
Yes, it is.
Because when you select somebody, openings are limited. When you select somebody willy-nilly without intention, you're also rejecting somebody.
Yes.
So one has to be very, very careful on that. One of the principles our generation has been brought up is that you hire for attitude. Right? Because skills are something you can always teach. And skills are people centered in the sense that people themselves pick up. Knowledge these days is available free on Google, whatever you need. So attitude is the most important thing. Is the person positive? Does he come from a position of can do, or does he come from a position of why he can't do? Right?
Yeah.
How collaborative is he? How open is he? Right? What is his family background? You see, family background is very important. I am not against people with the silver spoon background, but I do believe that people with middle class backgrounds coming from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, their work ethic is far more, organization centric than those of us who have stayed in metros and tier 1 towns. So family background, where is he coming from? And lastly, but most importantly, what is the education he has? How consistent is he? My favorite question is when I ask somebody, do you have a consistent first class education career? Right? It makes some people uncomfortable right at the beginning of the interview, but it helps me to see how a person responds. Somebody who has it makes a good beginning. Somebody who doesn't have it but can put good reasons on why he doesn't have it, that's also a good indication about the person and his attitude.
Yes.
So that's how I prefer to go about this recruitment part.
Right. And your final words to people who would be joining the workforce, who are joining the workforce, what would you like to share with them? With your entire career that you've gone through and you're looking back, what will be the final words for them?
See, नूतन जी, ऐसा है कि लाइफ में rear view mirror चलता नहीं है. So we have lived our life.
Correct.
Our lives and our best is behind us. Now, based on that, if I was to give tips to people who have their life ahead of them,
yes,
it wouldn't be a very good thing to do. But as a person who has great hopes on our country's future, and our youth is our biggest strength today,
yes,
there are a few things one can speak and touch upon. So, for instance, the world population is slowing down. Our generation, which was 1950 to 65 के बीच में जो born हुए थे, post that 1965 to 1980 is the next generation, which was called population boomers. Why? Because that was the fastest rate the growth of population in history. After that has come Gen X, and the current people who are coming in 1995 के बाद वाले, they are called Gen Z.
Yes.
You'll be surprised, but every week 25 million people come onto this earth. Right? And as we speak, the Gen Z is about 30% of world population. Right? And by 2030, 30% of employment worldwide, global scale I'm talking of, will be of Gen Z.
Correct.
So what is special about these Gen Z people? They have certain traits. And depending on those traits, organization should plan recruitment. For example, this generation is very, very happy with direct communication. Direct communication and traditional communication. That doesn't mean they're happy with writing. What I'm meaning is face-to-face.
Yes.
They are happy with texting. They want stability. They want flexible work hours. Right? So organizations are recruiting accordingly.
Yes.
But worldwide today, I'm not saying so much in India, and Indian workforce is going to be global. Worldwide today, the biggest scare is on layoffs.
Yes.
Right? So how can you avoid layoffs? What do you need to do? So one of the hot topics today is, people are talking of work from home culture. And jitni company zyada din work from home karti hai, utni achhi hai. But when there are layoffs and when there are difficult times, as you may have in, one's career, then work from home gives you very low visibility.
Yes.
It doesn't help you to be part of the company culture.
Yeah.
So try to balance your work-life balance, right? Be visible in the company. Most of us as human beings, our tendency is to, we have a to-do list every day, priority.
Yeah.
Urgent versus important, हम 2x2 matrix करके,
yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 बनाते हैं.
Yes.
But if we get down to doing it, क्या होता है? हम पहले easy ढूंढते हैं. So my request to all our friends who are coming from Gen Z and into the current workforce is, आप उल्टा करो. वो हमारी जनरेशन करती थी. आप क्या करो? Pick the difficult things out first. And if you can get the difficult things behind you in the first half of the day, you have a lot more to do and a lot more confidence behind you in the second half of the day. Second thing I would say is be collaborative. See, गांधी जी ने इंडिया के अंदर एक लोगों ने लत लगा दी इंडिपेंडेंस 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 बट 1947 के बाद it's an obsolete technology. The world is not bothered about independence. World is now all about interdependence. Countries, companies, why companies, even competitors are collaborating to benefit the end consumer.
Yes.
Right? They share costs to give technology. Right? So be interdependent and not independent. And lastly, I would say the list can go, like leadership can go on and on. Always think win-win. And if you have a choice ke samne wala jeete ya hum jeete, right? Please remember,
give them the choice.
There is enough scope ke hum sabhi jeete. This world is large enough. ईश्वर ने हम सबको बनाया है, हमारे लिए जगह बनाई है, हमारे लिए फ्यूचर बनाई है. He writes the script. We only play our parts.
Correct.
Right? So please have faith.
Wow.
Sabar rakho. Have gratitude. Believe that he has something. If you don't get something good today, just think he has something better planned tomorrow. So don't get frustrated. Life can be tough. Life can be impossible. But is that impossible? Jisme likha hua, I am possible. So have faith, have positivity, and look at your future with a lot of expectations and thinking that you can do a lot for this world.
Wow.
That would be my short request and suggestion to my friends who are just joining the workforce.
It was really nice. Thank you very much. Beautiful insights. I know the interview can go on and we can talk for hours together. But since we are short of time, and like we all know, the Zenjis don't have so much time. For them, half an hour is like an entire day. So thank you very much for these amazing insights.
Yes.
We probably someday, some point of time, will catch up again. See you till then. And guys,
Thank you very
much. Yes. It was an amazing lesson for all of you. Whatever that you have loved and learned through this conversation, please put it up in the comments. Reach out to him, let him know, let him receive all the love from us for him to really spare this half an hour with us.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I'd just like to add that I am on LinkedIn. Anybody wants can connect to me. And I am probably the only managing director or leader on LinkedIn जो अपना telephone number, personal, जो अपना email ID और घर का पता share करता है profile page के ऊपर.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody and everybody is welcome to connect and be happy to be of help wherever I can be of help.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Heartfelt gratitude. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Good night.
Bye.